For this video, we are going to be going over how to paint in overlays over the top of a pre-existing picture, and then also how to paint with layers. So here we have a copyright-free image. We are going to be painting with overlays to recolor the picture. So the easiest way to do that is we're going to be going down to your layer menu. We create a new layer. You should always paint on a new layer. If I were to paint on the background image, I wouldn't be able to make changes or move it. So I have my new layer. I'll go get my paintbrush. I'll select what color I want. I can either do that here in this color picker, or I can go up and have a little more fine-tuned control with this color picker up here. So I'm going to start off with skin tones and try to kind of block out the major colors within this image. So let's get, skin tones are typically kind of in this orange range with more or less yellow or red. Darker, you want to kind of select down towards the bottom. We'll give you darker tones, and then you can fine tune them with this. All right, so I have my color, and if I were to just start painting, it's just solid color. So I'm going to undo, Control Z. And I'm going to go over with my layer, and then I'm going to do the layer adjustment and switch it over to overlay. So now when I paint over it, it lets the original image show through. Let me make that a little bit cleaner. Go in my edges. I'm just going to do this very rough. I'll show how to clean it up later. So this is one way of adding color into your image. Okay. So another way to get cleaner edges, if I didn't want to worry about going and cleaning all this up, is you can actually make a selection before we create our layer. So say I want her entire jacket to be green. I can go in. I'm going to use magnetic lasso just so I can hug around the edges of the coat. So I'll just do this very fast. You could also use quick select and other tools like that. I get very rough selection around her coat. So I have my selection. Now I could paint this in and do a new layer, but a better way of doing this is actually using what's called a solid color fill. So down at the bottom of our layer menu, I'll create a new filler adjustment, select solid color, and now I can go in, let's make it green. I can go in, select my color, and it fills in my selection with that color. Now again, it is solid. So if I want the original textures to show through, I go to my layer menu and select overlay. There are other options here you can go with, so feel free to kind of look through these and see what gives you the best look that you want. What's nice about this method is that because it actually made a layer mask of my selection, I can make changes to this. So if I decide I don't want her to have a green coat, double click on this. I can change it, give her blue, red, pink, whatever color coat I want. And this you can go in. Now with the original layer that I made, I can't actually make very easy changes to that. There's no mask. It's just kind of a painted area in there. So this second method that I showed you is a much better way to go in and make changes later. A third way to do this, if you do want the freedom of being able to paint the color in, it's not a very clean area to select. I'm going to be going down. We're going to do solid color fill again. So solid color fill. I'll select the color. Let's say she's going to have blue hair. Hit OK. Now, when I do a color fill, it automatically has a mask on it. Right now, the mask is completely white, so my entire canvas is covered with blue. If I click on that layer mask, I'm going to invert it. You can hold down Control-I on your keyboard or go to Image, Adjustment, Invert. So Control-I. So what it did is it flipped my layer mask, so now it's black and everything is hidden. If I want to reveal this color again, I can go in, get a paintbrush. I'm going to set it to white, so just hit this little arrow here. And now if I paint over it, the blue is showing through. So I'll just paint her hair in here. Again, it's solid because it's not set to overlay yet. So you can see the layer mask shows where I painted with white, it's letting the blue show through. And if I switch it over to overlay, now her hair is able to show through. Now that's kind of messy looking in here. So if I wanted to go in and make changes, I could click on the layer mask and fine tune, use my brush. If I wanted to erase like this part where it goes over the ear, switch to black, and you can erase parts of it away. You'd also use a softer brush. So bring my hardness down and feather the edges so it's not so intense. Okay, so when you're starting off, block out major areas of color. Once you have those areas blocked out, then you can go in with a layer masks or new layers of paint and fine tune and add details. So if I wanted to add in, say, give her some flush to her cheeks, I'm going to add a new solid color fill. I'm going to let's go with red. I'm going to click on the layer mask, invert it. So again, it's a black layer mask. Get my paintbrush, set it to white. When I paint on her cheeks, it'll look solid. I can go and switch it to overlay so it looks a little bit better. That looks kind of, does not look realistic. So then I can also play around with opacity, kind of bring this down and make it look more subtle and more natural. Again, because I use the solid color, I can go in and change these colors still. So if I'm not happy with that kind of pink, I can maybe select her skin tone and just add a little bit of red into it to make it feel more natural, make it more subtle. And that is the basics of painting with overlays.